New testimony has come to light regarding one of the most notorious unsolved murders in U.S. history. Here's what you need to know. Rapper Christopher Wallace, or Biggie Smalls, was murdered by a gunman hired by Death Row Records founder Marion Suge Knight, according to a former FBI agent who has spoken to the New York Post. Wallace was gunned down on March 9, 1997, when his SUV stopped at a red light on the corner of Fairfax Avenue and Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, but the crime remains officially unsolved, according to the Los Angeles Times. Now, former FBI agent Phil Carson, who worked on the case for 2 years, has told the New York Post the murder was carried out by Nation of Islam convert Amir Muhammad with the help of corrupt Los Angeles police officers. Carson alleges that Wallace's murder was revenge for the earlier murder of fellow rapper Tupac Shakur, who was signed to Suge Knight's Death Row Records. He further alleges LAPD police officer David Mack and others helped facilitate and cover up the crime. Carson states that the original target was not Christopher Wallace, but in fact record producer Sean Puffy Combs, who was in the vehicle ahead of Biggie's SUV on the night of the murder. Amir Muhammad addressed the allegations against him in a 2000 interview with the LA Times. He denied any involvement in the murder, saying, "I'm not a murderer, I'm a mortgage broker." Former police officer Mack also publicly denied involvement in the crime via a 2018 interview with a registered guard. However, Carson told the New York Post that Mack is a registered owner of a 1995 black SS Impala with chrome wheels, the exact description given as being driven by Wallace's shooter. Mack and Muhammad were college roommates, according to the LA Times, and Muhammad visited Mack in prison in the months after the murder took place. According to the Daily Beast, Muhammad had been the first person to visit Mack after he was arrested for a bank robbery while off duty earlier in 1997. Informants told the FBI the $722,000 Mack stole was meant to go to Muhammad, and the money was never recovered. When he visited Mack in prison, Muhammad gave guards a fake address, social security number, and phone number when he signed in, according to FBI records cited by the Daily Beast. The context for the allegations is that Mack and another LAPD officer, Rafael Perez, were involved in a corruption investigation led by Carson, and both provided security for Suge Knight and Death Row Records while off duty. Beyond that connection, the New York Post says it has seen court documents filed by the FBI that claim the LAPD itself had alleged that Mack and Perez were involved in the Wallace murder. But according to the Post, the city of Los Angeles attempted to block these details from emerging because of fears it would damage the police force's reputation in the wake of the videotaped beating of Rodney King in 1991. Of course, Biggie Smalls was not the last famous rapper to die violently.
According to NBC News, an unsealed grand jury transcript said that rapper Nipsey Hussle was shot on March 31st after making a comment about someone being an informant. Hussle was murdered outside of his clothing store in Los Angeles during a personal dispute with alleged killer Eric Holder. According to witness testimony from Herman Douglas, Hussle allegedly said, "Man, you know, they got some paperwork on you." Deputy District Attorney John McKinney said the remarks led Holder to leave, return, and then fire shots from two weapons, a semi-automatic handgun and a revolver. Douglas testified that paperwork meant police or court documents recording Holder as a snitch. Holder was driven to the scene by a woman he was dating. The woman testified in court saying that she was amazed to see the rapper and got out of the car to ask for a picture. It was at this point she heard Holder turn the accusation onto Hussle. After the heated exchange, the woman said that she and Holder drove off, and that's when Holder pulled out a gun and demanded she stop and wait at a certain location. She said that Holder got out of the car, didn't explain himself, and then after a short while jumped back into the vehicle. She continued saying that she was confused, but that Holder threatened to slap her if she did not drive off quickly. Holder has pleaded not guilty.
New DNA testing is planned in the investigation of the unsolved murder of 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey, who was found dead in 1996. The investigation was reopened after an exclusive report revealed flaws in the interpretation of previous DNA testing. JonBenet's mother, Patsy Ramsey, said she realized her daughter was missing after finding a ransom letter on the kitchen staircase the morning after Christmas and quickly phoned the police. 2 officers who arrived shortly searched the home, but only sealed off JonBenet's bedroom. Newsweek reported that the search was not thorough enough as the police did not enter the room in the basement, where JonBenet's body was later found. JonBenet's father, John Ramsey, went into the basement room later that day and found his daughter's body there with her torso covered by a white blanket. JonBenét's mouth was duct-taped, and her wrists were tied. A garrote was found around her neck, and her skull was fractured. Investigators also found undigested pineapple in her stomach. JonBenét's family members were suspects in her murder. Officials also considered the possibility of an intruder having committed the crime. Then District Attorney Mary Lacey concluded the DNA found in JonBenét's underwear and the DNA found in her long johns pointed to an unknown male. Lacey's conclusion exonerated the Ramsey family from suspicion. However, new evidence has shown DNA samples from the long johns belong to at least 2 people, in addition to JonBenet. The DNA profile gathered from JonBenét's underwear could also be a composite, and not from just a single individual. The new discoveries make the link between the DNA found in the underwear and the long johns extremely weak, and may result in the DNA findings being considered worthless as evidence. The former district attorney did not respond to requests for comment after the report revealed the DNA findings failed to support her decision to exonerate the Ramsey family.
Back in 1996, on November 30th, a Democratic Progressive Party politician named Wan Ru, age 47, left a conference for her hotel room. The last anyone saw of her was when she got into a taxi cab. Peng then went missing for 3 days, and her body was later discovered in the midst of a guava orchard, with over 35 stab wounds. Despite the media frenzy and political pressure, the case has remained unsolved. That was until an unnamed convict claimed his cellmate had confessed to being the taxi driver responsible for Peng's disappearance. Police later tested the man's fingerprints and DNA against evidence found on Peng's body. Unfortunately, there were no matches, and police were back at square one. The cold case has been receiving some more attention recently as Taiwan has a statute of limitations on murder. In a little over a year, the 20-year-old statute of limitations will pass, and even if Peng's murder is solved, her murderer will be able to walk away scot-free.
CNN reports a woman was seen ringing doorbells of different Texas houses late in the night before disappearing on August 24th. Surveillance footage shows the woman barefoot, wearing a t-shirt and what appears to be handcuffs, looking nervous while ringing the doorbells several times. One of the homeowners shared their experience with KPRC, saying they were asleep when they heard the doorbell ring around 20 to 30 times. The homeowner said her husband got up to check who was at the door. Weirdly enough, no one was there. It seemed like the woman just disappeared. The Montgomery County Sheriff Office said they're investigating the suspicious incident. What do you guys think? What was the mysterious woman up to? The disappearance of legendary pilot Amelia Earhart has always been shrouded in mystery, but a new study may have answers as to what really happened. Amelia Earhart vanished over the Pacific Ocean in 1937. 3 years later, skeletal remains suspected to be hers was recovered on Niku Maroto Island. A physician in Fiji examined the bones in 1940 and determined that the remains belonged to a European male. The bones have since been lost, but recent analysis of the skeletal measurements using modern techniques reveals the bones were in fact female. Measurements of the arm and leg bones were determined to be a match to Earhart's estimated size and build, making it likely that the remains were hers. The data shows the bones were more similar to the ill-fated pilot than 99% of individuals in a large sample, though without a way to examine the actual bones, it's difficult to determine an actual match with 100% certainty.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.